One of the best pieces of advice that I've ever been given is to follow people with remarkable vision. My first mentor, my stepdad, who was actually my first upline in direct selling, said to me, Kirsten, when you find yourself voluntarily in a place, make sure that you are following people with vision. And friends, that's the reason why we're here. We sat down and had a conversation with this person. And the second that I mentioned vision, you should know exactly who this last speaker is going to be. But it's that vision that has pulled so many people together. It's that vision that has been cast that has enabled so many to achieve their significance here in Zinzino. And we're just getting started. You see, that vision is bigger than the large majority of people really understand. And when we get that, when we become a part of that dramatic vision, that momentum of movement forward, we have the opportunity to create dramatic significance within our own lives. It's my great privilege to introduce our founder of Zinzino and two-star global president, Orion Sala.
I read this interesting newspaper article about 3-4 weeks ago, and the headline was just like mesmerizing. How do you relate to your computer if it has an IQ of 1500? How do you deal with it? How do you talk to it? When you open it up and you push and you turn it on and all of a sudden it's live with you. And it has like an understanding of any subject, an understanding of the world, which is just so much smarter than you. Like it has an intelligence. It has, well, it doesn't have feelings, but you will feel like it has feelings because it understands you. It knows everything that you're doing. It knows your every stroke. It knows your mistake long before you realize that you did it, because you've done it 100 times before and the correction is there. So your Word document looks perfect. They added some design. You're perfect. Your colors, the things that you like the most. Well, this is why AI is the buzzword of the world. This is why AI is the mega trend that is actually the axis which every other trend will circle about for how long? The next 30 years maybe? Maybe it's the next 50 years? We don't really know. We just know that it will change the world the way we know the world today. Because I believe that AI will create more wealth in the next 30 years than the entire planet created since the Earth crust cooled. So for thousands of years, we didn't even get close to creating as much wealth as we will do in the next 30 years. So any big company, any mega company out there is driven by a mega trend. Behind me here, you can see Equinor. This is the big company from Norway inside of oil and natural gas production. Today also breaching into all kinds of energy, if it's been hydropower or if it's windmills or windmills in the ocean. I think they also invested big time into solar power. And that company was built by a mega trend, the mega trend of oil, because as we discovered oil took over more and more things in society. It became the source of energy, but it also became all of our garments, all of our shoes. Most of the things that we have has to do with petroleum industry. And it built some very large companies. Now, anything like that will be small compared to what we will see in the next 30 years because of this revolution that is circling around the axis of the AI. Now, Zinzino is a company, and I do not know if we have the potential to be between one of those really, really large companies. But if you think 100 million customers and 40 billion euros is a large company, then maybe we are. I don't know how large that will be in the future, but right now that's as far as my dream stretches. And we will become that company because of AI, because AI will be driving the two trends that drives our company. The first one is social entrepreneurship or direct selling. I kind of like that new word, social entrepreneurship. It's more friendly than direct selling. And that will be driven by AI. And I'll explain that in just a minute. Then the second part that will be driven is health. That is already a megatrend. But the nutritional part of the megatrend of health will be driven by AI. And it will also be driven by being test-based instead of being guest-based, which is what we take into the world, what we give back, and then AI will accelerate it for us. Now, back to the first one, the direct selling industry today is about 120 million people actively involved. We did sales of about 200 billion US dollars last year, or it was 2022 numbers. Now, why will that grow because of AI? Well, if you look at it, there is many reasons for it. At the center of AI comes automation. Okay, anything that becomes automated means that we need less of me, less of you, less humans, less employees. In the past, automation is what has created all the wealth that we have today. That's why a company like this, oil, led to a lot of automation, because you got engines that could run more easily, and then eventually today they're using it in all kinds of things. And some of you are into the environment, and I love that. I'm into the environment. I'm sitting here between the trees and I want them to blossom and be really nice, but I'm also into understanding energy. And the electric car is superior to the gas guzzling car. I love the electric car because it's just better. It's 10x better, and that's why it's taking over the world. Again, that was driven by energy, the same trend that built the big oil companies. It's a different source, different technology, different usage, and you get a different output. Now, in the past, when automation has happened, it's typically the blue-collar jobs that have been actually or the blue-collar workers that have been laid off, and the blue-collar jobs that have been kind of replaced by the automation. And that has happened for 100 years, maybe even 200 years. It depends on when we start counting. Then at the same time as that happened, production goes up, consumption goes up, wealth goes up, and new jobs have been created. So we have a lower unemployment globally today than we've ever had before. So this is not a bad thing, this is a good thing. But for the first time in history, we will see massive layoffs of white-collar workers, meaning people that are highly educated. They spend 5 years in university, maybe 7 years in university, and they've highly paid, highly trained jobs. But when your computer has an IQ of 1500, you might be able to do the same that those educated people are doing on your own. So you don't need their hours anymore. And that's a different kind of automation that we've never seen before. It's obvious that airplanes will fly on their own. They mostly do that already. You know, 90% of things that flies in the air is drones today. And they're totally self-sufficient. They don't need a human to fly them. Well, maybe they have a control unit on the ground. That's okay. But those control units, do you think AI intelligence with an IQ of 1500 will be better than a highly educated air controller with an IQ of 128? I think it's game over. It's obvious what the answer is. And that comes into so many professions. If you take, look at an engineering profession, all kinds of engineering. The intelligence of AI will be beating most of those people in that profession. If you look at people like working with law, with contractual law, lawyers, conflict resolution, maybe the AI will be more calm, more to the point, just better at solving it. If you want a contract and the AI has an IQ of 1500, do you think it could write up a contract that protects you and the buyer? I believe so. The lawyer would not necessarily be, we wouldn't have to pay them as often as before. We won't use as many of them as we do today. And then we could look at doctors, we could look at surgeries, we could look at so many things. And of course, it's obvious that cars will drive on their own. I think it was 2 weekends ago, they had the first Formula 1 race, which was an AI race. The cars are programmed, they have their own intelligence, and they're racing each other's. I didn't see the outcome of it, but I sure think that it is the future of a lot of things. So I believe that we will still have professional car racing. Yes, I do, because it's amusing to see humans compete, but we will always have the other thing. And that's where we don't need to be amused. When you're jumping in your car and you're going to commute, maybe we won't do that in the future when direct selling grows, and you're going to commute into your job and it takes 45 minutes in traffic. Why should you be engaged with the steering wheel and the gas pedal and all of that stuff when the computer can do it much better than you can? I don't think we will be doing that in the future. I don't think we would need taxi drivers. There is a lot of things that are going to be replaced. Now that leads me to a clear conclusion. When everything is automated, anything social becomes more valuable. So social selling, which we do, becomes more valuable. People will bring their popcorn to the home party and enjoy the show and be ready to buy for a human. It's the first time I've done it in 2 months. He actually talked to me. He gave me all the facts. He told his story. He told how the product worked for himself or herself. And I just enjoy spending my money with a human. I'm joking a little bit, but you understand the point. High touch intellectual marketing is going to be more valuable when everything is automated. Then social or actually community-driven workplace like what we do inside of Zinzino will also be more popular. That we actually have people to talk to, people to work together with, people to do meetings with, and going out and your job is all about entertaining and explaining and training and blah, 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 selling and so on with other people that are human. Because most of what we will do in the future for jobs will be very even, very equal, very technological driven, which means that the interaction of human is going to be less. And that changes things. And that leads me to believe that the profession of direct selling will in the next 30 years grow from about 120 million participants to at least 3x, which would be 360 million people inside of our profession. And the output, instead of doing X per person, I think we're going to be more efficient. So I think that the growth, the volume that we sell for is going to go up 5x, meaning it's going to go from 200 billion to 1 trillion. And that's an unprecedented opportunity. And this is one out of the 2 trends that is actually accelerating Zinzino towards our goals. And I think that we have the best positioning of any company out there in the world in our profession today when it comes to being accelerated by this trend, because we uniquely combine a direct selling opportunity where you can make 25, 50, 100, up to 400, 500 a month very easily just by selling the products. You could be selling them online. You could be doing your own TikTok video. This morning, in fact, I heard about one lady that did a TikTok video and she got 200 people contacting her wanting to join her business. You know, if you can do that in that many different ways, it just becomes very exciting. And I think that we are perfectly positioned. And if you think about the opportunity at large, you can go and make $1,000 a month or 1,000 euros a month, which is amazing. And I think that we do that first, 25, 50, 100, 500, all the way up to 1,000, better than any other company in any profession as a part-time job or as a part of the gig economy. I think that we are the best place because you don't need to commit to hours. You don't need to commit to any investments. You don't need to commit your car to anything. You don't need to commit to anything. You can do it completely on your own terms, and you've got a bunch of people in your upline that want to help you. They will invest their time into your business when you're not working. They will invest their contacts into your business if you're working. I think they will say, I only do that for people that wants to work. And then they will invest their money into you and your team if you're serious. And you get paid for all of that, just like they get paid a little bit on what you do, you get paid a lot on what they do. and no one else is really offering that. And that's why I think that's a place where Zinzino wins, and in network marketing in general, direct selling in general, we win in that area towards all the other opportunities out there. Now, from 1,000 to 10,000 a month, depending on which country we live in, that's a full-time effort. Then you have to commit, then you have to become good, then that is your profession, and people expect you to be professional, people expect you to develop. That's just a given. But we're equal to a job in that area. But there, we're 10x better. If it's 10x or 2x better, depending on how you look at it, is when it comes to the opportunity beyond 10,000. If you want to go and dream about making 20, that's impossible for most people in most countries. If you dream about making 50, that's even more impossible for most people in most countries at their current status in their country. It's nearly something that most jobs really just don't offer it. There is no one in the company that has it, so it's not there. While in our company and in our profession, this is offered. So think right now about your people, the people that you have on your 100 list, all the people, the 200, 500 that you have on Facebook, the 600 that you have on TikTok, wherever you have your contacts, or the 2,000 that is in your phone from every interaction that you've done through your life. Which one on that list will like an opportunity to go and make 10,000 and more? Which one from that list would like an opportunity to impact their health, getting to be a customer of the product? And which one of that list would desperately need to close the gap in this difficult economy where interest rates are high, where energy prices are high, where everything is going down, inflation is high, so you get less for your money? Who would need 100 to close the gap between what they spend and what they make? And that could be life-changing for them, the 100, because then they're breaking even instead of going into debt. So this is some of the reasons why this will be accelerated, and AI is at the center of that, because when there is millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of intelligent people that are laid off because their jobs are replaced, they will look for the best place for them to participate in something new. And I think direct selling is one of the winners. And I hope, and we will fight for it, that Zinzino is the biggest winner between all of those direct selling companies, which will all prosper, by the way. I don't think that because we grow, others have to lose. No, I think because we grow, others will also grow. I just have this passion inside of me that I want to drive us to the number one position. Number two is health. As I mentioned before, and we're positioned uniquely into that, the nutritional part of health was last year about 150 billion US dollars. And if we look into those numbers, we find that nearly half of it was inside of the category of omegas. When I talk about the category of omegas, I don't only talk about the capsules or the oils. I talk about food in the shelf in the supermarket, which has a marketing of omega-3 on it, because the buyer of those foods, they know that they need more omegas. They made a conscious decision already that they need the omegas. If you look at the global population, it's 8 billion people today, and it's growing. That's a good thing. That's good for the economy, and it's good for all of those people that get the opportunity to live. Out of that population, already 3 billion people are engaging towards, I want to promote my health through doing something actively. That means that they are either on an exercise program, or they're on a weight loss program, or they're on a conscious eating. They've decided to get on a specialized diet. Out of those 3 billion, about, I'd say 1.5 billion is actually buying what is inside of the category of a nutritional supplement. And inside of those 1.5 billion, there is another 500 million in that last category that I just talked about, that is making a conscious choice for omegas on a yearly basis. Do they take it every day? I don't know. Do they take it every month? Most likely. But they know I should increase my omegas because there is a problem in the diet. Now, what is that problem? It's a huge problem, because we did the work to find out. We did the work of doing 1.4 million tests. And the average answer to those tests, when we look at the first test, is that 97% of the global population, they have a huge nutritional deficiency. It's the biggest nutritional problem in the world, where their omega-6s are elevated and their omega-3s are actually very, very low. Now, why is this important? Because this is the problem that we discovered, and this is the problem that we set out to solve. And how will AI drive this? Well, I think that your computer with 1500 in IQ would agree that you should test before you try something new. You should know if you need more B vitamins before you take more B vitamins. You should know if you need iron before you take iron. And the AI would definitely say, hey, if you're supplementing with omega-3s, there is a test out there. You can find out if you need it or not. You would be crazy not to get tested right away. The AI intelligence will be on our side. So that's one of the facts why it will be driving. Then all the electronics that will measure all of your bodily functions, so to say, all your nutritionals, everything, will accelerate people to wanting to do more testing. They will do technological integrations and they will do blood work to find out exactly what they need. But let me just return back to where I left it off. And that is that those 500 million people, they just want to get their omega-3 levels up because they already know that they have the problem. And we know that the problem is equal between kids as people my age, as young adults, as the people that are in their 80s and 90s and so on. It's an equal problem to all age groups. And they have discovered that I have the problem. They have gone out this year or last year and bought 65 billion worth of omega-3 products to try to fix the problem. So that's a huge pre-existing market, would you agree? So we know that the problem is big, the pre-existing market is enormous. Now the question is, how does the other product solve the problem? The 65 billion spent, how many did they get in balance? And here is our data. It basically doesn't matter if you're taking omega-3s or not taking omega-3s. Our test shows that 97% is still out of balance. Well, maybe the ones that are supplementing with omega-3 have a balance on average, let's say, I didn't look at the data right now, but if you say that the European average unbalance is 15-1, the omega consumers as average on a group would maybe come down to 9-1 or 8-1. If the US balance is 25-1, the omega consumers would maybe come in at 15-1. But that's still far away from a 3-1. It's like, I'm telling my wife I'll be home at 3 o'clock. And then I come home at 9 o'clock. Do you think she is going to be happy? No, that's a big miss, you know. So a 9-1 or a 3-1 makes a difference. It makes a huge difference in our body. And when we solve that problem, we take your body from having an unpleasant environment on the inside, meaning that it's so-called pro-inflammatory, meaning that it has an overproduction of inflammatory markers towards the markers that stops the inflammation, or not stops the inflammation, but actually says repair everything, go back home. So it's more prone to the problems than it should be. When we solve that, then we get into an environment that is perfect. The 3-1 balance makes you able to actually handle problems better, because now you have the right amount of pro-inflammatory markers and the right amount of what we would call in layman's term anti-inflammatory markers. You've got to the right balance between them. Both of them are critical to life. We love both of them. We love omega-6s and we love omega-3s. We just don't love when you're having 25 times more omega-6s than you should have. That's when it gets wrong, or 10 times more than you should have. You only need to have 3 times more of those than what you have of the ones that is taking the inflammation back to normalizing your body again. So that's the ratio balance. That's the problem we solve. It's huge. And the impact on the human body is enormous because all of a sudden you're in the optimal mode. What are you in the optimal mode for? Well, if it's weight loss, or if it's balancing your hormones, or if it's performance, sports, if it's to sleep, whatever you want to do, your body is now in optimal mode. So when you enjoy your steak, the body can enjoy the proteins for that steak because it's in the optimal mode to use those proteins to build muscles in your body. When you hydrate, it's in the optimal mode to be hydrated. That's what an optimal mode is, and that's what it means to be in balance. I hope I didn't exaggerate that too much. I got enthusiastic. But so we've got a huge problem that we've discovered. We've got a pre-existing group that knows about the problem, trying to solve it. They are failing on solving it. And when we test them, we see that they need on average about 3 times more omegas to solve the problem. So what does that mean? That means that the omega industry is going to grow from 65 billion to 200 billion, probably within the next 30 years. We say that we think it will happen within 2050. And the test, the balance test, is what drives that. That is the technology that is 10x better, together with a product that easily, affordably, at 30, so let's say about 40 euros to $42 is the current price of the product. Maybe it'll go up a little bit in the future because as we get more consumers, more people want it, then prices go a little bit up. But even if you said $50 a month, 50 euros a month, that's an affordable way to solve the problem. I hope you're getting this. So we are 10x ahead of the competition. So we will be taking the market-leading position of solving this problem. And if we're a market leader, maybe we can keep 20%. 20% of a 200 billion euro market. Do you know what? That's 40 billion euros a year. That's 100 million customers. And we didn't take anything from anybody. That's the cool thing. We created business for everyone with bringing this technology out there, and then we became the market leader and becoming the dominant force. And through that, I think the entire nutritional industry will grow as well. And I think AI will drive that growth as well. So it will be on our side, helping us. So maybe we become a lot bigger. I hope so. But I'm sure of that every single person on earth that have decided that they want to take omega-3s will decide that they want to take a test. Then they need to use more omega-3s, they need to reduce their omega-6s, and our product will be the most effective one, and that's why we will be the market leader, and that will accelerate us to 100 million customers and 40 billion euros in sales by 2050. That's our vision. That's what we're aiming to do. So AI drives, it's actually the driver behind the 2 trends that drive Zinzino, and we're causing the biggest disruption inside of the nutritional industry and inside of the direct selling industry or social entrepreneurship industry that has ever happened before since the beginning of the 2 industries. So we are the driving force, and you can be a part of that. I didn't have the opportunity to invest in that company. You probably didn't have that opportunity either. Well, I'm not talking about when they got listed in the stock market. I'm talking about when they found the oil inside of the ocean of Norway in 1969. We didn't have that opportunity. But you have the opportunity with Zinzino, and we're creating something just as important. Some will say more important, and that is that we're creating the opportunity to let people get back into balance. And from that opportunity, as an investor in the company, you could profit. But even more, you could profit from becoming one of our direct sellers, one of our Zinzino partners. And if you become that, there is 2 things that is really important. Number 1, immediately learn how to present the product. Build that initial customer base to get to 25 a month, 50 a month, 100 a month, 200 a month, 400 a month, 500 a month. That's very fast to do as a just direct seller getting customers. And then number 2, look at your list. Who do you want to help to create that big wow income? Who do you want to help that wants to go full-time? Who do you want to help to also be closing that gap on the little extra money that they need every month? And then learn how to present the business effectively. Then duplicate this knowledge into your salespeople so that they can get customers, so that they can get new people into their team. Then go and plug into our system and become skilled in all the different things that we need to learn to build a large business. Team up with your team, the uplines that you already have. Team up with a company and become somebody that develops as fast as necessary to bring about a good business. This is an opportunity. This is the timing of the opportunity. It's never been a better time, never been a better place than where you are exactly at this moment. And there is never going to be a bigger opportunity to prosper in Zinzino than what it is going to be in the next 30 years. So that's why we take massive action. And I hope that after this kickoff, that you go into just that massive action mode where you get your shoes ready for the sprint, and you run off and you develop something that is beyond maybe what you thought was possible, and that is beyond maybe what anybody in your family has done before. Because when you do that and you get to live your dreams, the dreams of thousands of others, maybe tens of thousands of others, are becoming true. They get their health back, they make money, and they make that because of you. So together, as a team, we can all be a part of changing this world into a better place. And Zinzino will be the #1 in direct selling, will be the #1 in test-based nutrition, and we will be the #1 when it comes to preventative health. The most important thing in a world of AI is to keep your health, because that's the difference between us and the computers. We're living organisms. They are intelligences that lives on a different premise. So we need to take care of our bodies so that we can enjoy the next 30 years, which I believe for the entire world will be more wealth creation than we have ever seen before in the world. So, ready to take action? I am. I'm ready to team up with you. Let's take it to the top.